called him stubborn. But it wasn't stubbornness. It was fear. Steadfast was a working mule on a mountain farm. His job, carry goods to market across an old wooden bridge. He refused to cross it. Absolutely refused. As a young mule, a bridge had collapsed beneath him. Legs tangled in splintered wood, water rushing below. He barely survived. Ever since, bridges meant death. So Steadfast took the long route. Around the ravine, through the valley, up the far ridge. 3 extra hours, every trip. His owner, Thomas, never forced him. "Take the long way," he'd say. "Just get there." But the extra time was costing them. The farm was struggling. One spring morning, they loaded up for the market. A month's worth of goods. Aged cheese that smelled of cedar and salt. First vegetables of the season, dirt still clinging to radish roots. Grain saved for the best prices. Thomas needed this money to save the farm. They left at dawn. The 2 routes split just past the farm. The bridge straight ahead, the long route veering left through the valley. As always, they turned left. But 20 minutes down the valley path, they found it flooded. The river had swallowed the trail. Water churned brown and fast, carrying broken branches like warnings. Thomas waded in to test it, pulled back quickly. Too dangerous. He looked back toward the fork, toward the bridge. "We have to go back. Take the bridge." They walked back in silence. The morning sun climbed higher. Time was slipping away. When they reached the bridge, Steadfast stopped at the entrance. Thomas stepped forward. "This is the only way now." Steadfast planted his hooves. Thomas tried treats. Encouragement. Gentle pulling. Nothing worked. Finally, Thomas sat in the mud beside him. His hand rested on Steadfast's neck, warm, trembling slightly. "If we don't sell today, we lose everything," he said quietly. "The farm, your home, everything." Steadfast looked at Thomas, this human who had never forced him, who had taken the long route for years without complaint. Thomas was shaking, not from cold, but from the weight of losing everything. Steadfast looked at the bridge. Every instinct screamed no. Danger. Death. But another voice whispered, "What if staying safe means losing everything anyway?" Steadfast took one step. Thomas stood slowly. One hoof touched the first plank. It creaked, a sound like old bones settling. Terror flooded through him. He backed off. Thomas stepped onto the bridge himself. Jumped lightly. The planks held. "It's solid," Thomas said. "I'll walk beside you." Steadfast tried again. 2 hooves. The bridge swayed. His body shook. But Thomas's hand never left his neck. "I'm right here." They moved forward. 1 step, breathe. 1 step, breathe. The wind carried the scent of pine and wet stone. Below, the ravine yawned, dark and endless. The bridge creaked with each step. But it held. Halfway across, a plank groaned loudly. Steadfast froze. This was it. The collapse, just like before. But the plank held, old, weathered, but solid. Thomas's voice was steady. "The bridge is stronger than your fear. Just a few more steps." 1 step, another, another. Then solid ground. The smell of grass and sun-warmed earth. Steadfast's legs gave out. He collapsed, trembling, but alive, and across. Thomas knelt beside him, wrapped his arms around Steadfast's neck. "You did it," he whispered. They reached the market, sold everything, saved the farm. On the way back, they faced the bridge again. Steadfast stopped at the entrance. The fear was still there, but something else was there too. Memory? Evidence. He had crossed once. The bridge had held. His fear had been bigger than the actual danger. He stepped onto the bridge, still cautious, still nervous, but crossing. Months passed. Steadfast crossed regularly. It was never easy. There was always a moment of anxiety, that catch in his chest when the planks groaned. But he did it. Because he had learned something. Fear doesn't disappear just because you face it once. One day, a young donkey stood at the bridge, refusing to cross. His owner was frustrated. "Stubborn animal." Steadfast looked at the young donkey and saw himself. Thomas spoke gently. "He's not stubborn. He's afraid." There's a difference. Fear is information, not orders. The bridge creaked. It swayed. It felt dangerous, but it was solid. And Steadfast had evidence now. Evidence that he could survive what terrified him. The fear would always be there. But so would the courage to cross anyway. Thomas never called him stubborn again. He called him steady. Because that's what courage looks like. One step, then another, even when the bridge creaks. If this story moved you, you'll find more wisdom in our resilience and personal growth playlist. Subscribe to Tales by Cathie for stories that help you cross the bridges you've been avoiding. What bridge are you standing in front of right now?